Cooper Flagg is the best player in the country, on arguably the best team in the country, and in only a few months, he will be the first overall pick. Teams like the Wizards, the Jazz, the Pelicans, and even the Raptors, they're not fighting for a playoff spot, they're fighting to win the Cooper Flagg sweepstakes. And if you watched even just one of his games at Duke so far, you'd understand why. And coming off of the draft class we had a year ago, it's refreshing to see a prospect as good as Flagg live up to the hype that's been surrounding him for years. Hell, he's so talented that after only his sophomore year in high school, he reclassified a year earlier because he knew he was going straight to the NBA. Cooper Flagg has been on scouts' radars for years, since his freshman days in Maine, where he was averaging 20.5 points, 10 rebounds, 6.2 assists, 3.7 steals, and blocks per game. He was being recognized across the country and became the first ever freshman to be named Maine's Gatorade Player of the Year. He was so good that he took Nokomis Regional High School to the state championship and won. And they won solely off the back of Flagg, who had something like 22 points and 16 rebounds to win the state championship. He's known exactly what it takes to be a leader because he had to be one on the court his entire life. And with that kind of season, he decided to take his talents to South Beach and would finish out his high school career playing for Montverde Academy. And success seems to follow Cooper Flagg wherever he goes, because in 2022, he was named USA Basketball Male Athlete of the Year for his performance on the US men's national team in the FIBA U17 Basketball World Cup. And while he played great for Team USA then, I wouldn't be surprised if he's in the Olympic team come 2028. It wouldn't shock me because Cooper Flagg is going to take over the NBA the same way he's dominated college ball and the same way he dominated high school ball, especially those 2 years at Montverde Academy. Now, his first year over there was solid, but what really got his name on the map was his senior season, if that's what you want to call it, because in his last year in high school, he went out and put up fantastic numbers. He was averaging 16.5 points a night while getting 7.5 rebounds, 3.8 assists, 1.6 steals, and 2.7 blocks, and doing this on pretty good efficiency. From the three, I know that he shot about 38% and about 55% from the field. So again, if you need somebody who's automatic, you go out and you get a guy like Cooper Flagg. And of course, a blue blood like Duke would end up with the #1 high schooler in the country. I mean, Cooper Flagg his senior year ended up being a McDonald's All-American, was the National High School Player of the Year, Gatorade National Men's Athlete of the Year. He went to the Nike Hoop Summit. He went to the Jordan Brand Classic. He did it all, and deservedly so. And we'll talk about his season at Duke so far in a second. But for right now, I wanted to remind you guys to slow down, like the video, and subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 10,000. It is very helpful if you subscribe, so please do so. Alright, now let's get back to the video. You see, Cooper Flagg has been phenomenal for Duke, and his athleticism has really shown off. He is a little reminiscent of Zion in his one season because Cooper Flagg will jump out of the gym. It doesn't matter who they're playing. They can go up against Illinois, Miami, or even the #1 team in the country. Cooper Flagg is going to get a dunk off, and it makes sense. The kid is 6'9", 205 pounds, and again, he's only 18 years old here, just turned 18 a few months ago because of the whole reclassifying thing, so he's a bit younger than you would expect, and yet he's massive already. Now, he does play small forward primarily, however, he can move in between just about any position. He'll guard a big man down low at power forward. He'll be your point guard. He can facilitate. It's what he's been doing since high school, so it isn't surprising that Cooper Flagg can get the ball around. He's also listed at shooting guard. So when it comes to potential on an NBA roster, it truly is limitless for Cooper Flagg. That's why it doesn't matter who has the first overall pick, they're going to be selecting Flagg. If you're a smart organization, a smart franchise, you're going to go with the most talented over the best fit 10 out of 10 times. However, these bottom feeding teams aren't very good at that. That's why they're at the bottom of the NBA. And if we were to look at some of the terrible teams who have a great chance of drafting Flagg, well, we can take a look at the Toronto Raptors, who have the best players out of these terrible teams, and they are close to his home in Maine. I don't think Toronto and Maine are too far, especially compared to other cities on this list. However, I think a problem arises for Cooper Flagg when you take a look at their roster, because they already got a guy like Scotty Barnes and Brandon Ingram. Brandon Ingram is a great player, and I think he kind of already fills the role that Cooper Flagg would be bringing onto the team. And Scotty Barnes is already the face of the franchise, so there would be some tension there. Now, I'm not saying that the Raptors won't select Cooper Flagg. I'm just saying if you're Cooper Flagg, that's not really where you want to go. And then you got a team like the Charlotte Hornets, who have the potential to lose LaMelo Ball at any point over these next few years. He's been with the team for a while, and while LaMelo Ball has balled out, he has dealt with several injuries, and the team has failed to build any type of help, any type of supporting cast around him for years. So if Cooper Flagg were to go there, I do think him and LaMelo Ball would be a great duo, but I don't know if it would work out. The Charlotte Hornets aren't able to build a good team. It just hasn't been in their DNA since Jordan bought the damn franchise. And last but not least, you have the Philadelphia 76ers, who are a bit more of a long shot than the other two teams. However, I do think that that will be the most exciting outcome, because there's a lot of things to play around with there. If you get a guy like Cooper Flagg on the 76ers, do you call it quits with the Joel Embiid era? Again, he just hasn't been able to find a healthy season, and the team looks awful. Of course, they've been dealing with a lot of injuries when it comes to their star players, like Tyrese Maxey, like Paul George, like Joel Embiid, but for the most part, they've been healthy lately, and they just still can't play winning basketball. So if I were the 76ers and I land the first overall pick, I think that is when you say goodbye to Joel Embiid. Try and get whatever you can out of him. I'm sure his asking price will still be very high because he did just win the MVP. Then you also got a guy like Paul George on the roster. A terrible signing. You'll just kind of have to eat that contract. Maybe you trade away a few first-round picks just to kind of get rid of Paul George. But the future would look very bright. You would got a superstar like Tyrese Maxey, a future superstar in Cooper Flagg, and a rising star in Jared McCain. I do think that Jared McCain will be a great fit on this team once he recovers. He was looking amazing his rookie season before the season-ending injury took him out. I mean, he was the only reason you would watch Philadelphia 76ers basketball in those first few months with Joel Embiid and Paul George out. So shout out to Jared McCain. He will have a bounce-back year. But let's get back to Cooper Flagg. And this year for Cooper Flagg, he's had a great season at Duke. The Blue Devils are 24-3 this season, 15-1 in conference, and have only lost one game since Thanksgiving. Yes, it's been that many months since the Blue Devils have lost 2 games. And that's because Cooper Flagg is a stud. He's gone now and averaged 19.5 points, 4 assists, 7.7 rebounds, 1.1 blocks, while shooting 48% from the field and 37%. Now, we have seen his blocks go down, especially from his high school days, but that's just because the competition has gotten a bit better. Also, his shooting has taken a step back, but again, that's just because he's adjusting to college ball. And even still, 48% from the field for an 18-year-old, damn, amazing. That's why the Blue Devils are number 2 in the country. Really, they should be number 1 because the number 1 team is Auburn, who's full of players that are older than the guys on the Oklahoma City Thunder. And when the two teams matched up, guess who won? It was Duke. Why did Duke win? Because Cooper Flagg was the main event. He led the team in scoring, he led the team in assists, he led the team in rebounds. I would say he single-handedly defeated the number 1 team in the nation in the Auburn Tigers, because in that game, Cooper Flagg, well, he played 38 minutes, he shot 7 for 18 from the field, had 22 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals, and 2 blocks. Cooper Flagg could not be stopped, and he hasn't been able to get stopped all season. I have Duke winning the ACC tournament and going all the way in March Madness. There's a good chance Duke is the last team remaining. When all 63 other teams have been eliminated, you will see Duke sitting at the mountaintop, all thanks to Cooper Flagg. But anyway, I think I've covered everything I've wanted to. Talked about Cooper Flagg, his high school days, his college days, what his future could look like in the NBA, and I just can't wait to see it all play out. So I'll catch y'all later. Much love. Deuces.